Hi and welcome to this new episode about my workshop series. My name is Dennis and I am from Hooked on Wood. And it feels great to record this video in my new workshop. It sounds a little bit hollow now, but I hope to fix this as soon as I finish my workshop. A few weeks ago the first walls were placed and now here I am, what is starting to look like a full workshop. And I honestly didn't expect this to go that fast. That does not mean that it took way too long for this video, so this video is sort of an update on where I stand. But because of the very tight schedule, there was no time to film the building process. And for me the indoor part is also much more exciting, and from now on I will start filming. And I started last week with my first workbench and I can't wait to show you my design of new workbenches because I think there are some really nice ideas implemented. In particular my smaller dust extraction system is handy. In fact, I'm pretty convinced that this is the ideal solution for the average hobbyist workshop, because it's some kind of hybrid dust extractor that you can use for small tools as well as your planer or table saw or miter saw. And in my next video I will show you what I have in mind to make the best of this specific dust extractor. But first I have to build my workbench, so if you do not want to miss any of this, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Look at this. What better moment could there be to receive this very lovely YouTube play button. Now I'm almost finished with my new workshop. And I have to say it makes a bigger impact on me than I expected. When I started this YouTube adventure I could never imagine receiving this play button one day. It looks so far out of reach when you try to earn a place on YouTube. And I can say it's not an easy road. Even before I uploaded my first video I had to overcome many obstacles. And these are all on a personal level. So on the one hand this play button reminds me that the most essential part of success is getting started in the first place, regardless of any inward resistance that says it's best not to. And on the other hand, I'm so grateful that you have embraced me and my channel, and of course I do my best to deliver. But your acceptance of my somewhat poor English and the enthusiasm you share through your comments or thumbs up always feel very special and warm to me. So I want to sincerely thank every subscriber who granted me this gesture from YouTube. It feels very special. It will have a nice place in my new workshop. Thank you. Okay, that's enough. So far a lot has happened. And in my last video the reinforcement of the concrete floor was already in place. And after this we mounted the insulation in the walls and installed the electricity according to the plan. And after this we could install the inside walls. And I had purchased a new screwdriver for this because I thought that if I would be ready 3 hours faster, this device would have earned itself back, especially if I was going to sell it later. And what a pleasure it was to work with this machine. It has undoubtedly saved a lot of time, but made the job also much more enjoyable to do. And I've decided to keep it because it's straightforward to operate with one hand. And for someone who works alone, that sometimes comes in very handy. At this stage we also installed the lighting and the heating, which made the whole construction work a lot more pleasant. And we decided to do the upper part of the walls when the floor was poured, so we could use a scaffold. After finishing the inner walls we continued and installed the electrical boxes. We finished nicely on schedule for the delivery of my new saw and dust extractor, which of course I was very excited about. Outside it was still chaos and we had to make a path with ramps to get the machines inside. And although the table saw weighed over 700 kilos, it went pretty smooth. And the same applied to the dust extractor. It was a wonderful moment when everyone had left and I could unpack my new table saw. I was so excited that I sat in the corner all evening with a big smile on my face just watching this machine. And that evening I played around with the best place for the table saw, and when that was determined, the next day an engineer from Felder could make the table ready for use. Which was of course not only very convenient, but they adjusted it very accurately. While the Felder engineer was busy with my new saw, he moved the remaining machines from my old shed to my new shed. And for the first time, my new shed began to look like a workshop. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. I have a very interesting video series about very affordable woodworking tools from China tools. And on my site you can find all episodes, but also a ranking among all the products I tested with direct links. So this way you can easily find which products are interesting to look at and which you can better avoid. So visit my website www.hookedonwood.online. The Felder K-740S is a slider, which is new for me. The 740S comes delivered with this overhead blade guard standard. And as an extra option, I ordered this digital display with a fine adjustment system on the rib fence, which works perfectly. I also took the so-called power drive for automatic blade height and angle settings. And at last I choose a scoring unit for clean cuts. It's a big machine, and in the beginning I was afraid it would be too intimidating for more minor cuts. But I found out it makes less noise than my Harvey table saw. And with the so-called Fritz and Franz jig, it allows to cut very narrow pieces safely. So it was clear to me that this Fritz and Franz jig was essential. So I decided to make a hooked on wood version of it, with some more complex angles as a design element to get to know my slider a bit better. And luckily I was also able to use my micro jig on this slider. After my short experience with the slider, I still have a lot to learn, but I like its diversity so far. It is really nice to cut a full sheet of plywood, but also be able to cut very small pieces, and that without compromises on both ends. It feels very safe to work with a slider. Especially with a Fritz and Franz jig, your hands are much further away from the saw blade than with a traditional table saw. The disadvantage is perhaps its size and the amount of money it costs. Although you also have an option for a smaller sliding table, which dramatically reduces the size and costs. The Felder sliders start around 4,500 euros. And this is, of course, a lot of money. But you get a very serious and rigid sliding table with a 10-year guarantee on its slider. And its little brother, Hammer, from which I also have my bandsaw and jointer, starts a little bit under 3,000 euros. But I think the best thing you can do if you are interested in a Felder or Hammer is to contact your Felder dealer, because configurations can be different depending on the country you live in, and maybe you can even negotiate the price. I wouldn't say I like the early stage of moving into my new workshop, because nothing had a fixed place. So the first thing I did was to make a French cleat wall. And this way I could use my cabinets and boxes from my former shop to store at least some of my tools. And these were actually the first cuts I made with my new table saw. The French cleat system is a very straightforward system to make and gives you a lot of flexibility to secure things on the walls. It basically consists of strips with a 45-degree slope, and you place these at the wall with an angle facing the inside. So now you can hook whatever you like to the wall with the same beveled edge facing down. And I made the strips of the French cleat system 8 cm wide. Now this is wider than necessary, but I like how they fill the space of the wall. All the boxes and cabinets are temporary because I want to change them in the future, but for now at least I get some space to place my tools. One key element of a workshop is a decent amount of light. And this was not adequate in my former workshop, and I mostly used my studio lights for extra support. So I wanted a good amount of light in my new workshop that was nice to walk in and had enough lighting to record my videos. And although the choice for LED was obvious, you do have quite a few options in LED lighting. And I want to underscore that I'm not an expert in this field. And I'm just like everyone in this situation, I have to make choices. And I ended up with these LED strips. And one reason was that I knew my roof would have a light color that would reflect the light strongly and evenly. So these tubes that spread the light 270 degrees would take full advantage of this reflection. And the second was the ease of mounting these LED strips. This is very straightforward. And they include these small electric wires to connect the strips with each other. And the LED strips are 20 watts each. And I placed a total of 15 bars, giving an enormous amount of light. And for my shop, 12 would be sufficient enough, but I added 3 extra to reduce the shadow on my workbench when working on it. And although these strips look very small and simple, the result is much better than I expected. The lights are so evenly spread and there are no weak spots visible. Also, these extra 3 lights at the front of my workbench did an excellent job reducing your own shadow while walking. So I can only say that I'm delighted with the results, and it feels like I made the right choice, at least for my shop. Another essential choice was how I would heat my shop, and in my former workshop I heated with an infrared panel, which gives instant heat when I turn it on. And I really like to work in the heat energy these panels produce. So I leaned towards infrared panels for my new workshop, and I even bought one a few months ago to test it before making a final decision. And I'm glad I did, because I did not choose infrared panels because of the number of panels I needed to heat my new workshop comfortably. To warm my shop to 12 degrees you need 4,500 watts, and for 20 degrees you need to double the amount of watts, so 9,000 watts to heat my shop would be too much. So I ended up with a Mitsubishi single split air conditioner. And this unit has a heating capacity of almost 6 kilowatt with only 1.6 kilowatt of power. And of course has the benefits of cooling my shop in the summer. And I have to say, although I still prefer the heating energy of an infrared panel, this unit can heat my shop in about 15 to 20 minutes. And it's pretty quiet, and it is barely noticeable anymore when it reaches the temperature you want. And as a bonus, it can cool in the summer, and it's very energy friendly. In fact, it's amazing how much heat it produces with such a low power consumption. So in the end, I'm also very satisfied with this solution. Well, that was the update video of my shop. At this moment I'm building my first workbenches, and I want to show you my dust extraction solution in the next workshop video. And maybe there will be a China tool video in between, but otherwise it will be shortly after the next video. I want to thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments how you like it so far. All the best, stay safe, and well, we see each other next time.